Hi everyone, I'm Nicole, xstitch. Today is June 8th, 2023, and this is Flosstube number 14. As of today, I have stitched 179,820 stitches since I started stitching, and I have stitched 5,825 stitches since my last video. Now it's been almost a month since my last video, and I think I'm going to keep up with this sort of monthly posting from here on out. I think it will work better for me. So I have a lot of progress to show you, and I have a really exciting announcement, which I totally teased in my last video. So I'm going to start the video with that. My shop, xstitch Designs, is officially open. You can find me on Etsy, and I will have the link to my shop in the description below, or you can just search xstitch on etsy.com. And I have released my first pattern officially, and that's all that's there to look at right now, but I'm really excited to show it to you. So my first pattern is called Save the Bees, and it's a small kind of sampler-like piece. And I will just throw a picture of it in right here. So I'm filming this video a little bit ahead of time. So I don't actually have the fully finished piece to show you with me today, but I'm going to finish it and add the picture in here before I post this video. So Save the Bees is kind of a small sampler-esque pattern with a very simple color palette. It's got a lot of yellows. Yellow is my favorite color, if you couldn't tell from my logo. And I'm really excited to finally be able to share this. I actually designed this pattern back in November when I was at a conference in Boston after, I don't know what got into me, after a long day of being at a scientific conference all day. I was hanging out, relaxing in the hotel room, and got a random sense that I needed to design a pattern right then. And that was the first time I ever picked up the pattern software that I have, the cross-stitching software that I have, and actually made something in it. So I'm really proud of this. I think it's really cute. It's different than what I mostly stitch because I don't really do anything sampler style, but I really enjoyed designing it, and stitching it was really fun too. So here's where I'm actually at right now. I haven't quite finished that bottom part yet, but I'm getting pretty close. So I know I'll have it done in the next day or two, and then I have some back stitching to add in around here. But luckily for you, you already got to see the sneak peek of the actually finished piece that I haven't even seen yet. On top of that, I have another little bonus part of this pattern, which is that I'm releasing it in 2 colorways, and you get both colorways when you purchase the pattern. And so I will show you the other colorway right now. Here's a picture of that one fully finished. My mom very kindly offered to help me model stitch this pattern so that I could get it out faster. Obviously it would have taken me twice as long if I had to stitch both versions. So I sent her the supplies, and she stitched this one, which is more of a blue colorway, and the brown is switched out for gray, and the white is a little bit softer instead of brighter. So yeah, you get both colorways, the brown and the blue. And yeah, you can find the pattern on Etsy. Please feel free to share this with others. I don't really know how to tell people that I've just opened a new shop other than telling you here and telling the people over on Instagram and seeing what happens. But I'm really excited to share it, and I can't wait to see other people stitch it and finish it and share that with me. If you do stitch it, that would be awesome. And if you post it on Instagram, if you could use the hashtag Save the Bees Sal, I guess. I know everybody uses Sal for things, but I'm afraid if I tell you just to use Save the Bees, then it won't like it won't get filtered out from all of the other things. So save the bees, Sal, because I really want to see the finishes. Please tag me, do all of that. I'm really, really excited to see what you all do with this pattern. Feel free to change the colors to whatever you want. I don't care. It's just a suggestion. I just made the pattern for fun, right? Make whatever changes you think will make it better for you. Do whatever you like. Anyway, I hope you enjoy my first pattern. I have a few more coming out in the next couple of months. I have currently secretly designed 5 patterns in total, and I'm working on the next 4. And I think I'll probably be releasing them kind of like once a month for now, at least. Yeah, so please enjoy. I hope you enjoy, and more patterns coming soon. So go check out my Etsy shop, and the link is down below. Okay, so I think that's all I have to say about my shop. But if you do have questions, or if you think I forgot to share some really important information, please do drop a comment down and ask. I'm happy to answer any questions. I just simply cannot think of anything to answer right now. Oh, maybe one thing is the pattern is charted in DMC. I haven't given any like fancy floss conversions or anything like that. So just DMC, and the fabric recommendations are pretty loose. I just kind of recommend a color rather than an actual, specific fabric dye from a specific company or anything like that. And for reference, the stitching that I did here, this is on 36 count linen. So I did it over 2, so it's like 18 count. And then the one that my mom did is on, I think, 25 or 28 count blue even weave, and it's over 1, so it's much smaller. But you can see the pattern works well on both. Yeah, if you have any other questions, please do let me know. I'm happy to answer them. You can leave a comment here. You can send me a message on Etsy. You can DM me on Instagram, whatever you want, whatever works for you. Okay, so now I think I can move on to the normal Flosstube. I have a fully finished to show you. I showed you this as a finish last time, but this is Mini Art The Kiss by TheStitchPatterns, and so I popped it into one of these cute little 2x3 frames that you can get at Michael's in a pack of 4. They're pretty affordable. I think it's a really good way to finish these little mini art pieces. I love how this one turned out. I think it turned out great. Again, I like yellow. I'm showing you a bunch of yellow things. So this pattern really spoke to me. Plus I think the painting itself is a really beautiful painting in the first place. So that was a nice, easy finish. I literally popped this into a frame this morning. It took me like 5 minutes. And I don't do anything fancy on the back. I just let the extra fabric stick out, and I stick the backing piece right on there. And then I usually stick it on my bookshelf. So there is The Kiss by TheStitchPatterns. And then that's all the fully finishes I have. But I also have a really exciting finish to show you. And so this is a pattern called Luna Moth from, let's see, I forget. Oh, from Wild Bluebell Patterns on Etsy. And this pattern was a commission from my good friend from undergrad, Allie, who asked if I could stitch this for her. And I finally finished all the stitching. It was one of my big goals for May to finally finish this piece for her. And I am, as we speak, waiting for the hoop that she wants it finished in to be delivered. I'll talk about that more in a second, but here is the final form of Luna Moth by Wild Bluebell Patterns. I think it turned out really, really cute. We changed out a couple of the colors from the original pattern, like one of the greens in the leaves, this blue on the wings. I think we switched out this kind of reddish color for more of a brown tone red. And I think it turned out really good. I think this pattern is gorgeous. It's not something I probably would have picked to stitch because it's not necessarily the style of stuff that I hang up in my house. I don't know, maybe that's evident to you just from like seeing the other things I've stitched. I don't know, but it screams Allie to me, so I really enjoyed stitching it for her. And like I said, I'm waiting for the hoop to finish this in. I'm gonna fully finish it and then send it to her. But rather than just going with, you know, the kind of basic hoops that you get from Michaels, we found a seller on Etsy who stains hoops. And I think they're like nicer quality beechwood instead of bamboo or something like that. So we got like a nice dark walnut stain hoop for this. It's got like a gold or brass finish on the metal on top. I think it's gonna look really pretty, and hopefully next time I will have a picture of that fully finished for you. It'll probably be gone and shipped off to Allie by then, but I'll make sure I have a picture of it to show you for what it looks like when it's, you know, fully in its hoop and all of that. This will be in a 7-inch hoop in the end. This big old hoop mark around it is from an 8-inch hoop that I stitched it in. So I picked something just a little bit smaller, so it was really nicely framed in the hoop and didn't look like there was too much empty space. All right, so that's my only finish. I have one whip to show you, which was one of my Whip Go calls for May. So my Whip Go calls for May were, oh no. What were my Whip Go calls for May? Let's see. Okay, yeah. So my Whip Go calls for May were this, which I finished. And then my other Whip Go call for May was Ocean Wave, which I have shown in the past. It got called already this year for 1/3 of the progress, and it just got called in May for the second iteration of that. So I'm now 2/3 of the way done. I completed this goal on time, just barely. First I'll pop in a picture of the mock-up. So it's kind of a, wow, words. Anyway, it's like a top-down view of an ocean wave hitting the sand. I feel like there's a better word than top-down view of, but the word eludes me right now. And here's where I'm at right now. So I am at, let's see, I'm at 66.89%, so just got over that 2/3 of the way mark. You can see I skipped down to this bottom bit of just kind of fill-in work. I took this with me on a trip, and so what I did was I just stitched the outside of this whole block, and then to go on the trip, because I wasn't gonna have that much time to stitch other than just being on the plane. So I literally just took this one thread color and the hoop and my needle and some scissors, and I didn't bring my pattern or anything like that, and it was super good for airplane stitching. So this is 2/1 on 18 count white Aida, and I think right now it's in a 7-inch hoop, but it'll be finished in a 6-inch hoop so that the pattern goes all the way to the edges. And this is all in the called for DMC. The pattern is called Ocean Wave 341 or something like that. I don't know if it actually has the number, but when I downloaded the pattern, it had the number. And it's by ZephyrMood. You can find it on Etsy. So I am 6,376 stitches into this pattern, which has a total of 9,532 stitches. I started this on the 1st of March, and so far I have spent, let's see, a lot of days, 38 days working on it. So it's taken a good amount of time. I feel like I am so out of my, I'm off my game. I have forgotten to tell you all the stats that I normally like to tell you. Let me take like 2 steps back and catch you up on some of those stats. So Mini Art the Kiss is 1,120 stitches. It's on 28 count white even weave, but I stitched it over 2 with the called for DMC 3 strands. And then the back stitching I did with 1 strand. I finished that in May, and it took, no, I finished that in April. Oh my gosh, why am I so confused? I feel like my memory is just not great. Oh, okay, yeah. So I UFO'd the other project that was a call for May. So this is an April whip go call. I'm so off my game. This took me 12 days. I basically did it all on the bus, so that's why, or I did some of it like on the train, whatever. And then Luna Moth is also, it's 2 strands on 18 count Aida, and it is 3,638 stitches. I also wanted to mention this pattern had charted some like back stitching in these wings that was supposed to be in white, and it was supposed to look like little leaves. But I tried to do that back stitching and it didn't actually really stand out very well. It just kind of looked messy, so I ended up not doing it. But overall, I think the pattern was really beautiful, and some of the back stitching was very effective. Okay, I feel like I'm a little bit more caught up there. On Luna Moth, it took me 28 stitching days to finish that one. All right, back on track. Hopefully this isn't too confusing. I'm feeling like I sound very confusing, and it probably isn't helping that I'm filming this on a weekday, which I don't normally do. So it's like Thursday after I got home from work. And my brain's probably a little bit fried from that. I also just had like, I just had my first committee meeting for my PhD yesterday. And if you don't know what a committee meeting is, it's basically just you get the professors that you've chosen to be on your committee, which is the group of people who decide if you graduate or not. And you get them all together in a room and you present where you're at and you get feedback from them. And they ask you questions. So this committee meeting was kind of more chill. And next year, instead of just having a more chill committee meeting, I'll actually have an exam with them where I present my work. And then they grill me for an hour with questions. But anyway, yeah. So I've been working my butt off for that meeting for the last couple weeks and have been very busy in trying to juggle, like trying to open an Etsy shop and all of that at the same time. But yeah, I have been so lucky to have so many lovely people offer to help me model stitch for my shop. I think I mentioned in the last video that I was like, can I just share these patterns with just the mock-up? Should I be model stitching all of them? Because I don't know if I have time to model stitch all of them. That's going to take me a lot of time, and I really want to get these patterns out. And I had my mom offer to help me. She hasn't cross-stitched in like, I don't know, 20 years maybe. But she got right back into it, and I mean, her stitching is gorgeous, so thank you, Mom. And then also thank you to the other 2 people who have offered to help me model stitch the next couple patterns that are coming out. One of my followers here, Martha, I don't know if you have an Instagram or a Flosstube or anything, Martha. I haven't seen a YouTube channel or anything from you, but maybe you have an Instagram or a Facebook or something. If you want me to shout you out, just let me know because you're awesome. Martha has offered to help me model stitch a couple of patterns. And also Michelle from Michelle Bendy Stitchy offered to help me model stitch a pattern, which was the biggest honor, right? I've like watched Michelle for the last few years, basically since I started cross stitching and found out that Flosstube was a thing. I've been watching Michelle, and I really admired her as a designer and a stitcher, and to have her offer to help me out really meant a lot, and to have just her eyes on my patterns before I release them, I feel like will be really insightful and helpful. So thank you, Mom and Martha and Michelle, all of the M's. Thank you all for your help with this. The cross-stitch community is just so kind, and people are so helpful, and it really warms my heart. So thank you. Okay, on to the next thing, which is, yeah, so that's all my whips, that's all my finishes, everything I've worked on since you saw me last. It's not a lot of different things, but it's a lot of progress on them, hopefully you can tell. Yeah, so oh, I also have May stats to share with you from this is like, I guess, you know, my little May wrap up. So I know I like to show you my tracking page. Hopefully you can see that all right. Yeah, so in May, I worked on 4 different projects, one of which I UFO'd, one that I UFO'd, one that I finished. Barely made any progress on Hidden Harbor. I only put 1 day into it. Isn't that so sad? It keeps getting called on WIPGO and I keep not having time to do it, but I'm planning for that to change. I'll talk about that in my plans in just a minute. I stitched 29 out of 31 days, so I missed 2 stitching days because I was traveling. And I stitched 5,711 stitches in the month of May. Not my all-time record, but not too bad. I currently have 5 whips and I've finished 6 projects this year. So I was pretty happy with that for May. And yeah, so I'll go into plans now. Of course, gotta finish Save the Bees first, right? This is my first priority. I think I can finish it like tomorrow. So I'm gonna finish up those flowers and that back stitching and get some nice pictures taken of it so that you can see the pictures that I already showed you. It's weird to be filming a video in advance and be like talking as if the future has already happened. Yeah, it's weird. So finish Save the Bees. I also need to start stitching the next design that I'm going to release, so I'll probably be working on that a bit. I don't think it will take me quite as long as Save the Bees did, but we'll see. And then I need to work on Hidden Harbor. So Hidden Harbor, I'll put up the picture here, is a Heaven and Earth Designs pattern that I started at the beginning of this year. And it was called in April for WIPGO, and it got called again in June for WIPGO. So yeah, my June WIPGO calls were Hidden Harbor and another mini art pattern. I think it's Van Gogh's chair. So I might make that my next bus project. I think that one's a little easier to commit to finishing in a month, but 5% on Hidden Harbor is like 6,000 half stitches. So not like the worst, but a significant amount of stitching. And with all of the other things I was trying to juggle in April, I didn't even like scratch the surface of my 5% goal. And now I have another 5% goal stacked on top of that. So even though this is incredibly unrealistic, it would be awesome if I could make 10% progress on Hidden Harbor in the next 22 days. It's not going to happen. I know that's not going to happen, but I'm hoping I can hit at least one of those WIPGO goals. I might just be a little behind on Hidden Harbor for this year, but that's okay. When I was making my WIPGO board at the beginning of this year, I had no clue that I was going to be doing all of this, right? Like, I didn't know I was going to have a Flosstube. I didn't know that I was going to start designing per se. Like, those are things that I was thinking about, but not things that I like had decided to do or thought about the amount of time they would take. And so that's also part of the reason I've been filming less, is because I've been spending more time designing patterns and doing all of that. Getting an Etsy shop up and running is a shocking amount of work. Designing the pattern is like the easy part practically. It's like the least time consuming part almost, because after that you have to do all of the like formatting of the actual document that is the pattern, right? You got to get all of the dimensions in there and all the specifications and all the colors, and you got to make sure you have a pattern keeper compatible version, which I do. There will be a pattern keeper compatible version with these patterns. Yeah, so you got to do all of that, and there was a lot of editing that I had to do even after I thought it was done the first time. Had to take like make all the pictures for the Etsy listing and all the descriptions and all of the things. Took a lot of time. I think it will be faster, you know, the more that I do it, right? First pattern's always going to be the hardest. Like, I had to decide what my actual pattern template was going to look like. That took a while. But yeah, just all of these other things that have been taking up the semi-limited spare time I already have as a grad student. I've really cut out some like high expectations for the number of things that I can get done at one time for myself this year, but I also really enjoy all of the things that I'm doing, so I'm hesitant to really change that. Yeah. Anyway, that's all to say, turns out that having a Flosstube channel and an Etsy shop takes a lot of time, and you might stitch less if you're doing those other things that are stitchy related, but don't really get you progress on your cross stitches. All right, so yeah, those are my plans. I haven't really made any purchases to share since my last video. So that's kind of all I've got. Thank you for watching. Thank you for checking out my shop if you do. I hope that you are like at least half as happy about my pattern as I am, or like a 10th even, would make me so happy. So I hope you enjoy it. I can't wait to release more patterns, and I can't wait to hear what you all think. So with that, I will see you again in July probably. And I think my next video in July will be a mid-year whip and finish parade. It'd be nice to pull out some of the things I worked on, and show you all of them together in one place again. So yeah, I hope you look forward to that. And until then, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a good rest of your month, a good rest of your day, and I hope to see you back here next time. Bye.